Just a little Woodstock 99. Yeah.
They're just microdosing Woodstock 99 in the Minecraft movie at like 2:00 on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Over the last couple months, movie theaters across the nation and beyond have experienced a new youth menace. Groups of Minecraft fans who film themselves going absolutely buck wild when their favorite moment of the new Minecraft movie plays. We're talking about everything from throwing popcorn to actually breaking the big screen itself. In order to educate us on this new phenomenon, we've got culture writer and host of the podcast This Ends at Prom on the show, BJ Colangelo. And together we do our best not to moral panic while discussing what this new craze has meant for those participating in, those experiencing, and those watching the destruction. We'll also talk about how the Minecraft mayhem compares to other participatory movie experiences like Rocky Horror, and how it compares to the rebellious mayhem that we ourselves once wrought upon the nation. I'm your host, Chelsey Weber-Smith, and this is American Hysteria. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to be back here with BJ Colangelo. Boy, do we have something odd to talk about today that I know very little about. Maybe you all know more than I do. But for now, let's welcome BJ. Hi, how are you doing?
Oh, hello. Oh, I'm so excited to be back. I'm always excited to be here, but I'm especially excited when I get to talk about teenagers being chaotic little gremlins.
Yes, I think we both really enjoy that. So I guess we can just get into this. We are talking about all of this controversy surrounding the Minecraft. There we go. I'm starting on a high note of my intelligence on the subject. Minecraft and the outrageous behavior of the youth in the movie theater based on this film that's come out. So I want to start by asking a very ignorant question, and that is, can you explain what Minecraft is?
Sure. So Minecraft is what is considered a sandbox video game where kids can make whatever they want. The idea is that they give you the tools to sort of create your own worlds. For some people, they create worlds where it's just like, I want to hang out here. For some people, they create really elaborate maps. There are story modes for them to play. The opportunities are really endless when it comes to this game, which is why it is the literal most popular and profitable video game in history.
Wow. Okay.
The popularity of this game cannot be overstated, which is why I think it's been very shocking for a lot of film pundits, very similarly to the way they reacted with Five Nights at Freddy's, where because this is such a different world for a lot of people and the monoculture is long dead, a lot of people don't understand how wildly popular some fandoms are, Minecraft being one of them. So when this movie started doing really well, a lot of box office pundits were like, how could this have happened? And we're like, because it's a crazy popular video game. That's how.
Yeah, yeah. Is there a video game that you think was our generation's Minecraft?
Ooh.
Or is that hard to say?
I think it is a little hard to say because it also depends on if you were a Nintendo kid, if you were an Xbox kid. We definitely started splintering. I do think that games like any Super Mario Brothers game or Sonic the Hedgehog, honestly, ours is probably Super Smash Brothers. That's probably, those are sort of the great unifiers where it seems like everybody played those games. But those are also games that are an extension from a previous generation. Some of our, older cousins or maybe even parents played those games, whereas Minecraft is pretty wholly like a youth thing. So much so that even people in their 20s who were seeing this movie were like, this makes me nostalgic for my youth.
Right. Yes. Yes. Because my brother did play it. And that was, he's 8 years younger than me. So it's not like that far removed from our generation. It's just that I think I just don't have a lot of inroads to video game culture, really. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. But maybe we should start with the fact that, do you think that there's anything we need to talk about before we start talking about the movie when it comes to the video game?
So I think it's less actually about the video game and more about this current culture that's been developing, especially with Gen Z and a little bit of Gen Alpha, but more so Gen Z, of memifying the the movie experience. Okay. We saw this not that long ago with one of the Despicable Me sequels, where a bunch of them were showing up wearing suits as if it was like a formal event to go see a Despicable Me movie, which is like very cute and funny. Yeah. And they were doing it, for social media. They would all show up in big groups and record themselves, dressed really nice, like they were going to prom, being like 5 tickets for the Despicable Me movie, like Rise of Gru, whichever one it was. And so that sort of behavior is very common. And as far as I'm concerned, I encourage that sort of behavior. I think it's very funny. It's cute. It's harmless. It gets people going to the movies. It helps pump up box office numbers, and Hollywood is struggling right now. Yeah. So that's always a good thing to me. And it doesn't hurt anyone overall. Like, who cares if a bunch of like 22-year-olds show up to a kid's movie in suits and clap as if they're at like a golf match or like a golf tournament? Like, who cares? Like, that's
funny.
Fine.
That's just classic comedy.
Exactly. It's a good bit. It's very funny. And they like doing it because then they all start trying to one up each other on TikTok, where it becomes like, who can be the most formal at the Minions movie or whatever the hell they're going to see.
Yes.
Yeah. So that sort of behavior, I think that is sort of like the root of what is going to lead us towards what we're going to talk about with the Minecraft movie. There have been a couple other examples that I think are related, but also not, if this makes sense.
Okay.
The first one being the Eras Tour, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. So that is a concert movie. And by design, yes, there is audience engagement, sing along. This is for the people who couldn't afford to go to the Eras Tour. This is a great way to celebrate, with the Swifties. The problem is that certain theaters were not totally sure how to handle this sort of audience engagement. Some theaters were like, yep, it's a sing-along, go for it. Please just don't scream. Some theaters were like, we don't care. We don't get paid enough for this shit. And so there are videos that you can find online of people watching like serious, like Oscar bait dramas, and you can just hear people scream singing Taylor Swift on the other side of the wall. So that, I think, it's definitely related, but is in no way, shape, or form the same thing as what's going on with Minecraft. And then the other one being people who unintentionally turned Wicked into sing-alongs when they were not advertised as such. So there's a lot of things kind of happening. And and even to some extent, we can even look at Barbenheimer. The memification of going to the movies is very popular. People got a lot of clout online for doing this, and it kind of hit critical mass with the Minecraft movie.
Yes. And I am such a big proponent of the collaborative theater experience. Miranda, our producer, and I like to go to horror movies. I'm sure that you and Harmony also go to a lot of horror movies in the theater, and we tend to believe that it is our duty to create the vibe. So during the Nicole Kidman, intro to the movie, we'll start kind of like saying it along, and we'll start to, laugh a little bit louder and just kind of like make little comments, never stepping over the line of being annoying, but just being like, hey, we're at a slasher, everyone, like together here. We really try not to be annoying, but I just love the experience of actually watching a movie in a group of people that you don't know. And I think that there are movies that lend themselves to that. And it sounds like Minecraft is one of them, though I know that it's going in a direction that maybe is less innocent than just saying verbatim Nicole Kidman's AMC theater speech.
Oh, yeah. I mean, have no problem admitting that I have stood up and saluted Nicole Kidman during AMC ads. That's my president, so to speak.
I mean, right.
I obviously love going to interactive theatrical events. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is very, very important to me.
Oh, me too.
I love going to rowdy screenings at places like the Alamo Draft House. They'll do ones for like the It movies, and it's like, come dressed like a clown and you get a percentage off your off your ticket price. Like that sort of
Fantastic
stuff I absolutely love. And I do think that the Minecraft movie by design is absolutely a memeable movie and is an interactive movie because Minecraft is a sandbox video game. There isn't really a structured story to follow. They kind of had to just invent one for the movie. So what that means is that this is kind of Easter eggs the movie. It's Jack Black said the thing, the movie. And that can be very, very exciting for young viewers. And I definitely can see this as like a fun midnight movie energy. But the problem is it's a PG movie. This is never going to be a midnight movie because it's a movie meant for children.
Right.
And what has been happening is that the excitement people have, which started with being very excited when he says things like, I am Steve, or chicken jockey, has turned into punting like ices at the screen like they're footballs, people bringing in like carnival size bags of popcorn and like just flailing it everywhere. People have ripped open bags of flour, which is like a health hazard because you can't breathe that in. There's been one instance where somebody brought a live chicken into the theater.
Wow.
People have gotten on each other's shoulders in the aisles and like treated it like they were moshing. A lot of destruction has been happening, like straight up, like thousands of dollars of theater destruction during this movie. And it's because they're trying to one up each other. Like that's really what it comes down to.
Yes, which is different than maybe the collaborative spirit of experiencing something together in the moment. Because that is the other thing is like when you're doing this, you're doing it for a meme that you're creating for other people to consume, right? Which is like going to Rocky Horror when we were growing up, or now even, it's not really encouraged to like film what's going on and then post it. Kind of defeats the purpose a little bit, but it seems like that's probably a really big, if not the biggest part of the Minecraft thing.
Oh yeah. It absolutely is. It is performative. Like it's fully performative. It is, let's see how wild we can be. Because even if people are commenting and saying, this is really immature, that's really rude, they're still getting the dopamine hit of people are watching what they're doing and people are sharing what they're doing and commenting on it. And this movie experience in particular, I had to juggle back and forth for a while where I was like, am I old? Am I just being like an old curmudgeon who's like, these damn kids are tearing up the theaters? And the more it went on and the more of these that I watched online, I had a TikTok where I talked about how, hey, theater destruction is really disrespectful. The feedback that I got is what I found most interesting about this, because one, the biggest thing is, that's their job to clean it up.
Yeah.
There are people whose job it is to clean up a theater. And it's like, okay, guys, but you're now expecting some people making minimum wage, if like, on a good day, who have to turn around a theater for another screening in a half hour to now clean up, like in some instances, like hazard levels of stuff. Like that's not gonna happen. Like that's not what they're hired to do.
And they're not getting tips.
No, they're not getting tips. And like it's not what they've been hired to do. And also it's such a disrespect for a shared communal space. It is prioritizing the individual perk that you might get by recording this online, or even if it's not recorded, somebody in the theater being like, that's the guy who jumped off the balcony.
Did that happen?
Oh yeah. People jumped off the stairs. It's
okay.
It's
All
bad. Right. It's bad. It's really bad.
I'm going to need to get specifics throughout the episode. So we'll come back to that.
I'm just going to keep, dropping them in there for you. But it is a disrespect of a shared communal space. It is, there's no value in this. Who cares? What's important now is that, I'm the center of attention in this.
Right.
So that's been very frustrating. And also people equating it to, as we previously mentioned, to Rocky Horror, which is beyond disrespectful on like a moral level as far as I'm concerned.
Literally sit down in your seat.
Right.
Well, before we get into that, which I know we're going to have a great time talking about, is there like a beginning point of when this started and how it kind of mutated into what it has become?
So opening weekend is when they started to have videos of theaters of people just screaming chicken jockey at the same time that Jack Black says it. I hate that I know this information.
We need an explainer. Yeah.
The chicken jockey is a very rare thing to find in the Minecraft game. It is essentially like a little zombie boy riding a chicken like a horse.
Yeah.
So he's the chicken jockey.
Okay.
And so it's not just an Easter egg in the game, but it's like, oh my God, they included this rare character in the movie. This is a big deal. So the second Jack Black calls on the chicken jockey, the audience goes wild. And so opening weekend, there were all of these viral videos of audiences cheering like it was Avengers Assemble, like just screaming their heads off and cheering. And it's like, okay, that's kind of funny. That's really cute.
Yeah.
I like this. It's just one moment. Everyone's excited. This is all in good fun. Who cares? Well, the problem is that was the bar that was set. The bar was already an entire theater screaming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So from there on, we've got to up the stakes. We've got to get crazier than the videos that we've already seen on TikTok, because if just people screaming can go viral, what do you think's going to happen if I bring a live chicken? If I spill popcorn over everyone in this theater? If I pour alcohol on like the people in front of me, like we're celebrating, like,
yeah,
of course that will do better online. So I need people to understand it wasn't just like evening screenings. I'm talking like Thursday matinees. People are going buck wild in these theaters.
What's so interesting too is like, I heard the words chicken jockey and that meant, absolutely nothing to me. Then I saw a picture of it and I don't know, for people that don't know what Minecraft looks like, it's just like a bunch of boxes. It's kind of like Legos, right? That's what it looks like to me.
It's very pixelated.
Yeah. Highly pixelated. And what's so interesting about the chicken jockey thing to me, which is just you said like a little guy riding on a chicken. Mm-hmm. Self-explanatory.
Yep. It's like a little zombie on a chicken.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
It's like so like random core, right? It's like it's very similar.
Very lull to random.
Yeah. It's like very similar to what we would have found funny as kids. I think it's like there's something kind of universal about the randomness of that is it does kind of endear me a little bit, even though I also find it incredibly annoying. But, it's like if there was one of our Flash animations that we loved growing up made into a movie, I could see us like, if they made like End of the World or like something, what else? What other ones were really good?
Well, we sort of had something like that with the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. There is a character who he's played off as like kind of a crazy old man, but he's like, I swear I've seen it. I've seen this thing. And he holds up a picture that he's drawn, and it is a very famous meme of Sonic, like this like really crudely drawn Sonic. And so when that happened, the only people who are going to get that joke are like 35-year-olds, and we all lost it. We're like, that's so funny. Like, what a great like plug in there. We didn't suddenly decide, hey, do you know what would be funny if every time we saw Sonic the Hedgehog, we started a physical fist fight in the middle of the theater?
We didn't do that. 5-year-olds, yeah.
Right. So like we have incorporated little moments like that in our own movies, but because we're not trying to out meme each other, it's not having the same reaction.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the idea of filming something in a movie theater feels like sacrilege. You know, it's like,
yeah,
you're not supposed to use your phone in the movie. It says it right there on the screen. I'm not breaking that rule.
Yeah, this might be TMI, but I don't care. Like, I'm somebody who, like, I will not, like, poop in movie theater bathrooms because I don't believe in shitting in holy places. And, like, the movie theater is a holy land to me. So it's going to wait till I go home.
Hey, that's I respect that a lot. And it is such a holy place to me as well. And I don't know, this is going to be, really interesting to hear more about. Okay. So what comes next, BJ?
So what comes next is the inevitable pushback of they're starting to get the news reports about they're destroying theaters. This is getting out of control. There were a couple incidents where law enforcement was being called. The other big thing is that it spread internationally. It was initially a very American thing, so much so that a lot of people in the UK and especially in Australia were very proud to comment on these videos like, this is American behavior. This would never happen here. And then 2 weeks later, it's like, there was a fist fight in Australia. And it's like, the police were called.
Yeah.
So it started spreading internationally. And there are two things that I think really made this a problem. One was the fact that they started implementing little voiceovers from Jack Black before the movie being like, hey guys, don't wreck the theaters. Which, of course, when you're telling a bunch of like teenagers and 20-somethings not to do something, they're going to be like, you're not my real dad. I'm doing it anyway. So there was that. But initially, the director of the Minecraft movie is Jared Hess. Does this name ring a bell to you?
No.
So Jared Hess is also the director of a very famous and very memeable movie, Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh.
And so,
okay.
yes. So this movie is directed by the same guy who did Napoleon Dynamite and also Nacho Libre. That's where the Jack Black connection comes in.
Okay.
But Jared Hess was asked in the press, like, how do you feel about what's happening? And I don't think he had seen the videos of the destruction. I think he had only seen like people cheering, which again, harmless. When I started talking about this with some of my colleagues, I was like, do you guys see what's happening with the Minecraft movie? And they're like, yeah, a bunch of kids are cheering. Who cares? And I was like, no, it's not just kids cheering. People are like ripping up seats and they're like, that's insane. What? So he was asked about it. And he didn't condemn the behavior because I don't think he realized how bad it was. He basically was like, hey, people are having fun and people are going out to the movies. I think it's awesome that art is eliciting this sort of response. And he's right. I agree with that. But the problem is that then means a bunch of kids went, director said it's fine. I can do what I want.
And probably amp it up like 10 degrees. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And we've been sort of trapped in this void where people are trying to explain like why this is not appropriate behavior, why this is not the same thing as Rocky Horror, why it's actually not cool to like destroy very expensive theaters. But the more people try to be like, hey, stop doing this, it seems like the more they want to do it. There are all of these just devastating videos I've seen of people recording these ushers who cannot be more than like 22, who don't want to deal with this, who are just coming in before the Minecraft and like screaming and being like, hi, if you can hear me, do not do anything during Chicken Jockey. We will kick you out, please. And people are just recording them and laughing at them. And it's like, it's so... They do not get paid enough for this.
They don't want to do that. They do not want to be up there being your moral guardian. They just don't want to clean up your shit. Yeah.
They don't. And it's a lot of theaters have had to essentially assign workers to be on chicken jockey duty. Like they have figured out where the timestamp is of when that moment's going to hit for the theaters. And they have people go in, wait on those sidelines and make sure things are okay. If things get out of control, the lights come up, the movie's over. They've had to hire people.
Do they end the movie?
Oh, yeah. They'll end the movie straight up.
And kick everybody out?
Mm-hmm. They'll kick people out.
Do they give people refunds?
See, it's been back and forth. There have been some theaters that were like, if you can prove that you were not the asshole who just ruined this, we'll give you your refund. But if you're the asshole who ruined this, like, you're banned forever. You can never come back.
Yeah.
Because there are so many warnings now telling people not to do it. It's on the doors of some theaters. But there have been multiple social media posts where people have been like, oh my God, I'm on chicken jockey duty. Please pray for me. And it's getting like thousands of retweets of people being like, I'm so sorry. So people know it's a thing.
Yep. More after this. And now back to the show.
So fortunately, the Minecraft movie currently, as we're talking about it, is starting to die down. A lot of the people who have seen it have seen it. And a lot of the theaters, because they are now having a zero tolerance policy, it's not happening as much. It is sort of dying down. But there is also now a secondary market that has emerged where some theaters are offering rowdy screenings of the Minecraft movie, where it's totally cool if you want to like go nuts and scream. But there are rules. You can't throw your food around. You can't destroy things. You can't jump on people's shoulders. No fist fights, like things that seem kind of common sense, but apparently we're not. But this, additional market has emerged so they can go and they can have fun. They can go to these rowdy screenings. But what's very interesting is that if you look at people who've like done reviews of it on Letterboxd or whatever, they've all said that like they're like, it's not as fun. The fun is that we're not supposed to be doing this.
Of course. What it reminds me of is when, like, in the history of Halloween, Halloween was just like pranks and all these horrible tricks that were actually very violent and dangerous. And the community finally was like, we can't do this anymore. And so in the 40s and 50s, parents were like, we're going to create these haunted houses for you where you can like touch liver and like do all these scary things. And like, isn't that great? And, it's just like, no, the kids were like, no, you can't like give us controlled chaos. Like, we make the chaos. And that's kind of what it reminds me of, is like, nice try. I get what you were trying to do there, but it's just, it's not going to take, you can't have controlled transgression and have people feel the same way.
And that's exactly what's happening. And so, I've sort of grown to become two minds about it, wherein as much as it annoys the hell out of me, and I have kind of zero tolerance for people who disrespect movie theaters because it is such like a sanctuary for me. At the same time, I'm also not surprised at all that this is happening, because I think a lot of our teens right now have a lot of really big feelings and have a lot of energy that is not going anywhere. And so when they found this outlet to not only explode, basically just absolutely erupt, but also have a shared communal experience, as well as, get a little attention, I'm not surprised they took it. So it's...
No, me neither.
Like, it's frustrating, because as much as I want to be like, hey, don't do that, at the same time, it's like, I kind of get it. I get it. I don't like that this is the outlet. I think this is very misdirected emotion.
Yeah.
But where else was this gonna go? Like, it's not fun to yell chicken jockey and like throw your iPad. Like, that's not fun. No.
And I think that's what is like appealing to me about kind of the heart of it, is like that this younger generation of people doesn't have the opportunity to have those shared communal experiences, or they don't even know that they should be driven to have these communal in-person experiences. And so it is a little heartwarming that a bunch of strangers can be in this place together over a shared love of something completely ridiculous and can totally let loose and have fun. But the destruction, of course, I do not like. But I don't know, it does feel like I like that part of it, but then it gets undercut by the fact that the primary motive may be just to film something rather than to like experience something. And I'm sure that it's a mix of both. But what do you think? Do you think that that's the primary motivation, is more social media than it is just being with other people in the real world.
So what I think it is taking what was very common for us as teenagers and cranking it up to an 11. So walk with me here on this.
Okay.
Something else that needs to be acknowledged is that there is absolutely a gender binary happening. The overwhelming majority of people that are doing this in the Minecraft movie are boys. And
no way.
Who would have guessed? And it's just very interesting to see, you know, how when the girls were dressing up for the Barbie movie, people would like make fun of them, but it was like, yeah, who cares? But now the boys are destroying theaters, and there are articles on like page 6 or whatever of people being like, parents are defending their kids' right to destroy movie theaters and saying, get over it. It's like, what? Okay. Interesting that we're extending, you know, boys will be boys behavior to causing like, what is it? Like grand larceny is whatever the actual legal term is for that much destruction and stealing things.
Wow. Yeah.
Fascinating. So because there is a gendered component to this, all I can think about is how when we were teenagers and preteens, a lot of us were recording each other doing jackass stunts. A lot of us were recording each other in shopping carts, crashing into islands and parking lots. And it was a fun thing, but it was sort of a thing we did for us. Like, sure, a little bit for other people. We'd like show it off to our friends. But because social media wasn't what it is now, you would upload that video to YouTube and you'd get like 100 views and 89 of them are people you went to school with.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. So it's not all that different from what we did. The difference, though, is that this does have the potential to go viral very, very quickly. And that means a greater chance for the dopamine hit of, oh my God, 1 million people have seen this thing that I've done.
That's such a good comparison because I definitely was getting pushed in shopping carts, launching into grocery store parking lot bushes. And we did film it. I mean, we did the like slap game where you'd be like, okay, film me. And you just like slap your friend in the face. Like, that's not good. We shouldn't be encouraging that behavior. But like, yeah, that was something that we did and we filmed it. I would give anything to find the VHS tapes that we made. I have no idea where they are, but God, I just think that's I had not made that connection at all. And that really is so true. And that probably was primarily boys too, but you know, we were not like other girls.
We weren't. Hashtag not like most girls.
I also like was thinking about how, when you said it was mostly boys, about how this is basically just their Woodstock 99.
I mean, kind of. Like,
just a little Woodstock 99. Yeah.
They're just microdosing Woodstock 99 in the Minecraft movie at like 2:00 on a Tuesday, which is just absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are definitely videos of me. I know there's one that I think made it to Facebook, and it is the glitchiest cell phone footage you've ever seen of a bunch of us jumping off of our friend's roof into a pool.
Yeah.
And you can just hear like the older sister in the background, like, if you break your leg, I will fucking kill you.
And now we are the older sister in the background.
Yes, we sure are. It's fascinating to me because I think the social media aspect, all it does is just pours gasoline on the fire that I think burns within all of us when we're young to create a little bit of chaos. And the problem is that we've poured so much gasoline on it that the fire is impossible for us to get out. And it's growing beyond our control. And that at the same time, it's hard not to feel like, oh my God, am I perpetuating a moral panic by being so wild about this? But then I like think back and it's like, okay, when we were doing jackass stunts and, you know, rolling around in shopping carts, a majority of the time, the people would watch us do this and go, oh, those darn kids, those idiots, they're going to break their heads and then they'll learn. Or occasionally somebody would be like, I'm calling the cops. And then we all scattered. Like that's kind of how a lot of us were able to live. Teenagers today are constantly being policed, observed. Yeah. Everything that they do is monitored in some way, shape, or form. Everybody is at risk of being in the background of someone else's I'm having dinner at this restaurant TikTok. And I think constantly being surveilled has kind of broken like a lot of people's brains. It's certainly broken mine.
Yeah, it's bone chilling. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can only imagine how it's affected, an entire generation where this is literally all that they've ever known is being, surveilled like this. And so when you have the chance to take control of how you're being presented online, knowing this is going to get recorded. So I'm going to do what I want and I'm not going to be caught off guard. There is a bit of like reclamation power in that.
Yeah.
And so it's again, like, I get why this is happening. I'm just so sad that there isn't a more productive way to channel all of these feelings and anxieties so that this can happen without it also running the risk of like destroying a movie theater.
Right. Yeah. And so maybe we should get into these comparisons to Rocky Horror, because I know that that's what inspired me to want to talk to you on this episode was reading the piece that you did for Slash Film.
Yeah, I wrote that one for Slash Film.
So yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you wrote in that piece and, what were your conclusions?
Sure. So this all started because I made a TikTok being like, hey, here's why this is, not the same thing as Rocky Horror, because that was a huge defense a lot of these young people were making of like, this is just young people's Rocky Horror, which is a fundamental misunderstanding of not just the purpose of the Rocky Horror Picture Show interactive screenings, but also its history.
Yeah.
So on like a purely just like functional, practical side of things, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is different because, one, every person who enters an interactive screening or a shadowcast screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show knows what they're getting into. This isn't something that is being sprung on a random audience because a bunch of 20-year-olds bought tickets and decided today's the day. So that makes it very different. Not to mention, there are also rules for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And there have kind of always been rules. There have definitely been theaters throughout time, in the 70s especially, where they were trying to like see how far they could push things. There were some theaters that historically would bring in operating motorcycles during Hot Patootie. And then quickly, cool. It'd be so cool. But then they quickly realize, oh my God, we're choking the entire theater with like exhaust.
Yes, that's true. Worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are definitely like people pushed the boundaries to see what would work and then quickly realized that does not work. And these are midnight screenings. These are the last screenings of the night. The people who are working that night know what they're getting into. They know what to clean up. Not to mention, not every theater has the same rules. Some theaters, especially like the older, more historic theaters, a lot of times don't allow people to bring water guns or throw toast or rice because it becomes like, it's just too much for them to clean up. So they're not allowed to have those there.
Yeah.
But everybody goes in understanding those rules. There is like an accepted level of respect when going in there.
Yeah.
Versus the Minecraft movie where it is very much spontaneous and not everybody has signed up to this. I think that a lot of people overuse the word and misuse the word like consent. But I think in this instance, it does apply here. Nobody consented to you throwing a thing of flour all over them in the middle of the Minecraft movie. But if you're going to Rocky Horror and okay, they're going to have squirt guns and they're going to have rice and they're going to have loud bells, you're consenting to knowing that's going to go off at some point when you're in there.
Yeah.
So that all alone makes it very, very different. But then the other thing is what Rocky Horror stands for and why it has lasted the last 50 years. And it's because Rocky Horror is a safe place. It is a sanctuary for marginalized people. It is a place for people to express themselves who might not feel comfortable expressing themselves in their day-to-day life like this otherwise. And because of that, there is a very like warm and almost familial bond that happens when you go in there.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone sort of knows there could be someone in here where this is the only chance they get to be gender nonconforming, to be who they are, versus, again, a spontaneous Minecraft screening. It's people trying to one up each other for hits on the internet. That's not the same sort of thing. And, I will gladly eat crow if 50 years from now they are still doing Minecraft screenings and people are losing their mind during Chicken Jockey, I will gladly be in my 80s and go, I was wrong, my bad, but just gonna make this prediction now. Don't think that's gonna happen.
No, it feels just like, I mean, I don't even know if anyone has the patience to continue to create like a cult classic movie anymore. It's like the cycle is so fast, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and people have tried, like they tried to do it with The Room and a lot of Neil Breen movies where occasionally they will have a screening. It's like, oh, it's The Room, and people will like bring spoons and they'll scream like, you're tearing me apart. But even those screenings, they also have rules. Like they have rules and guides of what to do at certain moments and like what's too far, what is encouraged. But even movies like The Room, like they're not having a monthly screening in like, you know, every major city across the country every single month the way that Rocky Horror does.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see a new Rocky Horror, but like Rocky Horror is ultimately lightning in a bottle. It just is.
Yeah.
And I wish that younger generations would have that sort of thing for them. But I don't think it's going to be the Minecraft movie. And it's especially not going to be the Minecraft movie if the continued theater destruction is part of it. What theater is going to want to put it on?
Yeah. And I mean, the other interesting thing is like Rocky Horror and like the audience talk back is happening throughout the entire movie. So like the whole movie is an experience. It seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Minecraft movie just has Chicken Jockey and everything else, like everybody's acting normal. Is that true?
There's like a couple of so Chicken Jockey is the main one. There's also like I Am Steve is a big one. There's like one other moment, but really it's like three big pops. Like it's that's what it is. So it isn't quite the same because you then know the entire theater is just prepping for those three moments.
Yeah.
So they're not fully in it for the whole movie. They're in it for those three moments. Whereas like Rocky Horror, like that's a commitment.
Yes.
Because you're going from go. Callbacks start before the lips even hit the screen.
Yeah, that's so true. And also, I mean, Rocky Horror, although plenty of teenagers attend, is not a movie for kids. And you're almost never going to see, you know, anyone under the age of, I'd say, like 14 showing up. And so that feels really relevant to the problematic nature that we might be seeing here.
Definitely. So, I mean, there are definitely young people who do go to Rocky Horror. There is a proud 11-year-old who has shown up to the screenings that I've hosted out here in Los Angeles.
Oh, heck yeah. And that's how old I was when I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wonderful. He's got a full Frank costume. It's incredible. But he comes with his parents. Like his parents come with him.
Right.
And so that's also starting to happen. Some theaters are requiring anybody who is a minor to have a parent with them, even though it is a PG movie.
So we've got an R status on this PG movie. Okay.
Yes. But it's also it's very important to note that like the audiences are different because given the low cost of movie tickets and the midnight showtime, this is an accessibility game changer for like working class queer people when it comes to Rocky Horror.
Right.
An R rating means that queer teenagers can take part, but also at the same time, like it's not people that are like way too young, and it can take place at midnight.
Yeah.
Because Minecraft is a PG movie and because it is happening during the middle of the day, this is a 4-quadrant experience. You can have children coming to this. And so because there are people that are interrupting, you know, with these like big explosions, a thing that's not getting considered is how this isn't just ruining theaters like on a physical level. It's also ruining the movie experience for a lot of little kids, like little kids who love Minecraft, who really want to see this movie, who have like Minecraft backpacks and are actively playing it now. They are now being denied the magic of the movies because a bunch of 20-year-olds want to be a bunch of assholes.
Right. Because is it really more like 20-year-olds?
It is.
Versus
it is
like 13-year-olds? Okay.
It's older teens and people in their 20s. It's the kids that were going to like Minions movies in Suits that are now a bit older. And that is what's been making it very kind of hard is because it's hard to tell older teenagers and adults to like grow up. Like they're not going to do that. So like
No.
you are the most defiant you ever are in your life when you're like 22. So you've got that going on.
And normally you hope they're like channeling it into protesting.
Right. One would hope. But it's not just that they're 22. It's also 22-year-olds who all of their like freewheeling years were stolen from them because of the pandemic.
Totally. Yes.
And so there's definitely a little bit of, I mean, calling it arrested development is not like wholly accurate, but there's a little bit of that going on. But because it's these older teens and these 20-somethings that are doing this, it is sort of destroying the sanctity of the movie experience. There have been some parents who have been complaining about like, this is the only night of the week that I could get off to take my kid to see this movie. And he had a terrible time because someone spilled an entire like full jumbo size pop on his head during the chicken jockey scene. And that sort of stuff just really like hurts my soul, because for as rowdy and rambunctious as Rocky Horror can get, it's still about having this shared experience and wanting everyone to have a great time at the movies and have a great time together. This is not community building. This is going into business for yourself, to use a wrestling term.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, so going back to the like R rating for a PG movie situation, it also means that anyone under 18 who doesn't want to go with their parent is probably going to have a hard time going. Is that true?
Yes. They're likely going to have to wait until streaming. And that's like another interesting little wrinkle to throw in here is people have been saying like, oh, this is how we watch movies. This is how we experience movies now, is like through our phones and through our interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I always ask them is like, okay, so then when this hits streaming, are you going to throw parties at your house? And are you going to have your friends throw giant bags of popcorn around your living room where you have to clean that up? No, of course not, because you have to be the one to clean that up and you don't want to do that. Versus I've been to plenty of people who have had like Rocky Horror house parties where people watch the movie, they come in costume, they do the call outs, they bring props, and it's fun. And so it's hard to separate, and it's hard not to become the like old man yells at cloud meme about it, but it is different. And to just sort of wipe away the sort of behavior as like, oh, it's fine, it's their Rocky Horror, it's not.
Yeah.
And it's okay that it's not. And the more important conversation to be having is dissecting why it's not the same, and also why it's causing this. Like, why are so many young people acting this way? We have to treat the cause and the symptom. Like, both of them have to be taken care of.
Good reference there, yeah.
You're welcome.
More after this. And now, back to the show. Yeah, and so, I mean, on that moral panic tip, right? Like, I don't think you and I are moral panicking, but I bet that some people are moral panicking, would you say? Like, what's that looking like? Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people are absolutely moral panicking about this and turning it into like, you know, the movie theaters are going to be ruined. We should never have, like, this is the sign that movie theaters are truly dead. And it's like, okay, I hear you. It's not great. It's not a good experience. However, do you know what immediately followed the Minecraft movie? Sinners, a movie that people are dying to go to the theaters to see because it is awesome. And it is a truly theatrical experience. If you have not gotten to see it in IMAX when the frame ratio changes, oh my God, you gotta. It's incredible. But like, no, the theaters are not dying because people are acting like a bunch of jerks at Minecraft. It's just people are acting like jerks. Teenagers are acting like fools. That is nothing new. It's just happening to happen at this moment in time because of the Minecraft movie.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I really keep thinking about the Jackass connection, because all I was thinking about before was Rocky Horror, which does feel so markedly different other than it like happens in a theater and things get thrown. But I do feel like thinking about like the CKY videos even before Jackass, like we weren't doing good things. Like if I was a parent, I'd be like, don't do that. That's not good. And so I don't even blame people for having that reaction at all. But I do think, as we're talking about now, there is a good balance between the critique and the underlying reason, as you said, like the symptom and the cause. And yeah, I would love for this to be something that I could fully get on board with, the way that I fully got on board with Skibbity Toilet. You know, I'm really trying to keep the youth's like honor alive, but I do not like what is happening to our brave theater workers, you know, because it's not an easy job.
Right. It's really not. And, you know, I wish that there was an outlet for people to have like those jackass feelings that so many of us have, that they could actually explore them. You know, I think about Jackass. I recently watched the first Jackass movie in 35 millimeter. Unbelievable.
Ooh,
and
fun.
Especially Johnny Knoxville showed up. It was a dream come true. It was absolutely incredible.
Stop.
It was amazing.
Oh, I'm like fanning myself.
You would have thought the Beatles were in town. The whole theater erupted, as to be expected. But I was thinking specifically about like the pranks that Bam Margera used to play on Phil and April, on his parents. I will say that watching those scenes in particular on 35 millimeter, they look like a snuff film because the camera quality is like, it's so poor. It looks crazy. They're
always like hidden cameras that they just
exactly.
sets up, and you see him setting it up, and then he disappears, and then like fireworks explode in Phil's car.
Right, exactly. But when I think about those, like those are prank videos, which are things that people still do today. But there is a big difference between the prank videos of Bam Margera, which even the ones that are like super cruel, like putting an alligator in the house to see if he can make Ape finally say the F word. Even something like that, which is very like mean-spirited, is still very much based on the reaction. Prank videos now are so performative. It is like everything is so staged. It is meant to be so cinematic, or it is not a prank. It's just like, what if I punch this guy in the face? And it's like, that's not a prank. That's just random violence.
Yeah.
So I think about that evolution as well, of like a lot of these outlets that we had of like being in good fun, being rambunctious, causing a little bit of chaos. And how now the performance is part of the chaos. And that is very worrisome to me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like you're doing it and like because it's fun. Like, because like a lot of these Jackass stunts, they're having fun with their friends. Like they're goofing off. They're doing something that's fun. And there is a little bit of catharsis in the adrenaline rush that happens of, I'm returning a car that I rented from this rental place and destroyed it. Like, what is that going to be? But also, they have the money to pay for that car to replace it. They can do the destruction because they can replace it. So now we just have people who are performatively destroying things, and there's no like, hey man, sorry, it was just a prank. Here's money to replace the screen.
Or like, we'll all stay after and clean up. Because like that would that would solve the problem. Like really, except for any, you know, damage done to the theater. But if they were like willing to be like, and then we clean up after it, and like we still get our little video, and we still can get our, you know, attention on the internet, and then we all like hang out and clean up, and that cleanup is not filmed, and we all just like are together in a space. Because I've been doing a lot of mindfulness work, BJ, and it's just, it does make me think of just this like, is anyone present? Is anyone being present in the moment rather than just thinking about how it's, and this is like not some kind of revolutionary thing I'm saying, but like that, you know, we're just thinking like, how is this going to look on TikTok? And that just feels like really dark. How like we're moving farther and farther and farther away from, I wouldn't be as upset about this. Not that I'm like so upset about it, but I wouldn't be even needing to have a conversation about it if it weren't for the component of this not actually being a communal experience that people want to have. It's like, it is something wholly different from that. And that is like, I could even get down with some destruction, because God knows I tore through the bushes again of grocery stores. And I definitely did destruction. I was a little bit of a destructive, youth. And so I can't like condemn the behavior. I can reflect on my behavior and be like, that wasn't good. You shouldn't have done that. But I think it's like, there's just something much more like dim or like much more, I don't know, just darker about the fact that, and maybe people are having, maybe it's two things. Maybe I'm, thinking too much about that part of it, and they are having a communal experience and it's being filmed. I just don't know if we'll ever be able to know the degrees of both of those things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I live in Los Angeles. It's an incredibly image conscious town. It is also the epicenter for influencers. Influencers in the wild is just part of living here.
Yeah.
And it is so jarring when I watch people who aren't even recording anything, and I know that they're acting as if they're being recorded.
Yeah.
People walking to the store and like the way that they hold their face or the way that they are holding their body or moving their body around, it's almost as if they're making sure that if they were being caught in the background of someone's camera right now, that they would look so good that people would be like, oh my God, who's this diva back there like flipping her hair?
Zoom in, enhance.
Yeah, very much that. And it is like kind of sickening, like when I see it happen. I go to a lot of film screenings at places like the Grove here in LA, which is like a huge sort of like epicenter of like shopping, and
that place is wild.
Yeah, a lot of fancy people go there, and I see like it's so uncanny to watch it, where I'm just watching people that I'm like, this is fully a performance. And the reason being is because everyone's performing like what they're seeing on TikTok. They're all wearing the same fashion, doing their makeup the same way, holding their body the same way, even their voices and the inflections of how they talk are imitating one another. And so I see that, and then I see that combined with, the destruction of the theater being performative. And I think about, the destruction that I did when I was younger that was performative would be like stealing one of the signs that said like dump or like don't dump or whatever. And then, stealing that road sign and keeping it in my bedroom, which like, that's theft of property. I should not have done that. But that cost the public works like probably $75 to replace. If you break a screen at a movie theater, that is tens of thousands of dollars.
Have people been breaking the screen?
That has happened in at least 2.
Okay.
Where screens have been damaged.
Like how? Like throwing something at it?
Throwing things, yeah. Because you also, this is why one of the main rules that you'll see if you ever go to Rocky Horror is do not touch the screen.
Yeah.
Because even getting just like your greasy, buttery, popcorny fingers on a screen will ruin it. It can affect the image quality. But yeah, people were like chucking their drinks at screens and damaging them. And it's just very concerning to me that there is like zero understanding of like why that's not chill.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, the virality factor too has it so that it's happening every single day, multiple times a day, versus, the small amount of people who were really doing Jackass stunts based on, like you had to both be watching Jackass, and then you also had to be the kind of person that would like go out and take a shopping cart and slam yourself into something. I feel like it's just less accessible. And interestingly, as I guess a defense of this is like, it is much more innocent than a lot of the things that we were modeling when we were growing up. I mean, I mentioned Woodstock 99. That's not really a good example, but I do think that Jackass stuff is a better example of like, there was like some mean-spiritedness, there was destruction of property. And it does feel like viewing this, although, I'll die defending Jackass, don't get me wrong, but the fact that it is just chicken jockey versus like throwing a dummy from an overpass, it's just kind of like there is like an innocence to it that, though it doesn't connect to me personally, chicken jockey is not gonna inspire me to do anything. I guess that's something.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I mean, for me, it really is just the destruction that bothers me, and then the defense of taking Rocky Horror's name in vain that I will never tolerate.
Not okay. No.
Because I have been to many screenings for like family movies or movies that are very much I'm not the target demo for. Five Nights at Freddy's was a big one. And they are among some of my favorite theatrical experiences I've ever had, of just hearing the uncontrolled joy of like an 11-year-old when they see the balloon boy for the first time in Five Nights at Freddy's and just like freak out, and they're screaming and they're cheering. Harmony and I have talked about one of the best screenings we've ever gone to was for that first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, where they had invited families, like mostly like children. They wanted to get responses from kids. And so we were the oldest people there because I was invited as press. So we were the oldest people there that did not have children also with us. So it was almost exclusively kids. And when the end credits hit and you see Tails, and then when you see Jim Carrey's Robotnik in like the full Eggman garb, the little girl next to me stood on top of like the armrest in the theater and screamed her head off. You would have thought somebody like ran her dog over. Like, it was the most blood curdling scream I had ever heard. She was sweating. She was like shaking because she was so excited that she got to see this. And it was electrifying. It was such an amazing experience. We left that theater. I was like, was that the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life? Because just the energy was so infectious. And it's like, I love that kind of stuff, but that is not the same as like what's going on. And it bums me out because I wish it was. Like, I wish it was what it was opening weekend, of people just like cheering unnecessarily for something that is so stupid but means so much to so many people. I think that's really beautiful. I think it's really touching and really gorgeous, and just it makes me so happy. And to see that it very quickly, because of the way social media poisons all of us, the way that it turned into something so ugly so quickly just bums me out. It's just a bummer.
Yeah. Are there any other juicy little moments that you want to tell us about that we haven't gotten to in terms of like what people have actually done? We've got the live chicken. We've got the screen destruction. We've got, barrels of popcorn. Is there anything else we're missing?
So I will do like my own little you're wrong about, in the sense that a lot of people have been saying people have been bringing fireworks. That is not true.
Ooh, okay, debunk.
The footage that people that are claiming are fireworks, it's actually like a Bollywood movie, and they just like superimposed Minecraft over the screen so that it looks like they brought it, which is really, really funny to me.
Yeah.
So a little debunking there. But one that was somebody did bring a second chicken. The first chicken went viral. Someone else brought another chicken, which I want to know, how are they smuggling chickens in there? Like, how are they getting a chicken past the box office, past the bathrooms, past concessions, into the theater, and no one is ratting them out before the scene? Because the scene is not like in the first 10 minutes, like it's a little further into the movie. So they're just keeping that chicken quiet. But somebody did bring a second chicken, and there's a great video on TikTok of like a manager or something shutting the whole theater down. It was like, I don't care. Everyone is out. Get out of here.
Wow. Well, bird flu,
Yeah, it's something. The ones that do make me just like so heartbroken are the ones that people that work at theaters take of the aftermath.
Oh, yeah.
The flour is the stuff that like really hurts, because you can't get that out. Like, flour is like glitter. It's just part of you. If it gets wet, it makes it worse, but it's really dangerous to breathe that in. Like, breathing in flour can, and I know there's a real name for it, but everyone calls it bread lung, but like you can get bread lung. Like, that kind of stuff is just depressing and really sad.
And unrelated to anything
Right.
in the film, right? Like, it's not like the popcorn, you're like, well, you have popcorn, so that makes sense. But flour, unless it's a metaphor, doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it really is just, it's the biggest way to like cause the most
Be
like,
an asshole, yeah.
destruction as humanly possible. So it is really, it's that. Like those are like the main ones, but it sucks because when I initially saw a lot of the videos of people like losing it, I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. Like you have the initial reaction of that's fun. And then
I did have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Reality sets in, or then like you see the videos of people like videotaping the aftermath that just say like, bro, I quit. And I'm like, oh, this is terrible. This is so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of projectionists have shown what it looks like from their view.
Whoa.
Oof.
Wow.
Scary stuff.
And that's like every day for them, right? Or is this not happening every day? Is it like that common?
It's fortunately calmed down exponentially. And now that people know that they're being watched, they're going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
I think that has changed. So it really was like, I would say probably like a month's worth of chaos.
But it was happening like,
daily.
All over most places. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
It was everywhere.
I'm sure to varying degrees, but yeah.
Totally. And I think it was more so like major like megaplexes than it was like indie theaters, which I, in a weird way, am like a little bit happier about.
No, I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's still bad. Like it's still terrible. But the difference is one of them is like a family theater that's probably been owned by the same people forever. And the other one is Nicole Kidman's house. So, you know.
You don't do that in Nicole Kidman's house.
One of them at least has Nicole Kidman house money to kind of make some repairs.
Yes. So have there been any arrests?
Yes. There have been some arrests.
Okay.
Because it is destruction of property. And it is like a high dollar amount in some of these cases. Do I know what they're going to be charged with? It's probably going to be like a big ass fine.
Yeah.
Maybe like probation. I don't think anyone's doing jail time for this. I don't think it's gone that far.
Hopefully they have to volunteer. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's gone that far yet, but people I know have been arrested and are absolutely going to be fined money that we know they don't have.
Yeah. I say throw fines out. Let's do community service at the movie theater after.
Oh, yeah.
Chicken jockey scenes. Yeah. Can we just like make people clean up their own mess?
Yeah.
They won't do it anymore.
I don't know if it's like a liability issue or what, but I'm all about making people clean up the messes that they made.
Yeah. Well, BJ, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
The last thing that I will say is that the Minecraft movie at the time of recording is inching really close to the $1 billion mark. And so while this absolutely was happening all over the place, including internationally, and it was happening a lot, the overwhelming majority of people seeing this movie are not doing this. So this is not
great
a
point.
wholly Minecraft problem or a Minecraft audience problem. It is, you know, a group of people wanting to go viral, wanting to do whatever, about the same age, about the same gender. Yeah. That's really what we're happening here. So I do hope that if there are parents out there who are like, I don't know if I want to take my kid to this movie, statistically speaking, you actually probably will be fine.
Yes. Oh, great thing to point out here at the end, because, we do not want to be causing any sort of moral panic.
No.
And we are also big fans of the youth. We'll always be big fans of the youth. If you've done this, we're not mad at you, but maybe go into your community and make amends by doing something good and something of the world and in the world. And don't film it. I bet you'll feel really good, but maybe you won't, because you'll just want to have filmed it because you don't know.
You'll want that dopamine hit of everyone going, oh my God, that was so nice of you. Heart emoji.
Yeah. Yep. Well, do we have any Jerry Springer final thoughts, BJ?
My final thought is that the real crime here is that we no longer have outlets for kids to get out their inner jackass feelings. Oof. We need to bring that back.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to do.
That's what we need to do. All right. Well, you and I will brainstorm the next childhood chaos movement, but then they won't want it. We can't do it for them.
We can't.
Y'all gonna have to figure it out yourselves. but just respect your theater worker.
Respect the space, respect the theater, and respect yourself.
Yeah.
Respect yourself. You don't want to be covering your entire body with flour in a movie theater. Don't antique yourself. That's not fun.
No. At least lose the flour, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, BJ, thank you so much. This has been illuminating, as always. Thank you for being here and teaching me about this non-moral panic.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having me to talk about just one of the strangest things to hit the theaters in quite some time.
But don't stop going to the theater, please.
Yes, please go see movies. There's a lot of great ones coming out. And I'll say this, you're going to want to go see Final Destination Bloodlines. That is going to be the next big communal feeling. Squirm in the seats with your friends, squirm in the seats with strangers. It's a blast.
I'm so excited. And Miranda and I will be there setting the vibe. All right,
good.
Let's go party at the theater. This was American Hysteria. Make sure you check out BJ's podcast, This Ends at Prom, and find her on TikTok and Instagram at BJ Colangelo. If you want to support American Hysteria, get ad-free episodes and bonus content, you can become a patron at patreon.com/American Hysteria, or you can subscribe on Apple Plus. You'll also get access to Hysteria Home Companion, the other podcast that I do with our producer Miranda, where we tell you stories related to the topics that we're covering, or just stories we know that you'll love. You'll also get a behind-the-scenes look at how the show is made, and you'll find out more of our personal opinions on the episodes and more about our personal lives as well. That's patreon.com/American Hysteria, or subscribe on Apple Plus. Another great way to support our show is to leave us a 5-star review on whatever app you use. It helps us out so much. You can also follow us on Instagram at American Hysteria Podcast, and you can go to AmericanHysteria.com to leave us a message on the Urban Legends Hotline about a tale that you remember from growing up, and we might do a whole investigation about it. You can also pick up some of our merch there. American Hysteria's producer and editor is Miranda Zickler. Our associate producer is Riley Swedelius Smith, and I'm your host, Chelsey Weber Smith. Thanks as always for listening, and I hope you have a great week.